Okay, you got me. I think it's episode 37. I'm not sure. If it isn't, well, it isn't. There's a country song. You know, Kim and I are big country fans. There's a country song that says, "She got the best of you." You know, well, fortunately, I'm a good writer, producer, and director because I sure as heck cannot sing. But if you remember the song, you know, "She got the best of you." Unfortunately, today, you're not getting the best of me, okay? I've had a really long day. And, you know, I just think it's kind of fun to get into Kim and my private life a little bit. If you guys don't want to hear about it, you know, there's a comment bar down below. You could say, "Jack, just stick to, you know, the nuts and bolts." But I think it's kind of fun. You know, we spend a lot of time together. So today, I'm proud to say that after having lost 14 pounds, that today is the day after a long layoff on my working out with iron today and on the treadmill. I do iron 3 days a week, treadmill 2 days a week. Today is the first day in my comeback that started about 3 months ago that I got back up to doing 6 full sets, 10 different exercises, 12 reps for each of them. So that's about 720 reps. And I do that with 25-pound dumbbells. So, you know, I felt really proud of myself. I pushed myself out of my comfort zone and, you know, knocked out all of that. I was on the weight bench for about an hour. Took my 14 gummy bears. Boy, that's Jack's tip jar if you're working out. Google exercise and gummy bears, and you'll find out you're supposed to take 14 gummy bears after a workout, followed by your protein shake. So I did that, and that was like, you know, that was really rough. And then we had a plumber come because we had a flood in the downstairs of our home, and that got taken care of a couple weeks ago, but there's a little leak in the pipe, so he's got to fix that. So he was here for about half an hour. And then it's Labor Day weekend, so Kim and I are going out with our our best friends on Saturday night, going to a great restaurant in town. Then we're going to have them come back here, and we're going to sit around our fire pit on our deck overlooking the golf course. And that's like a lot of fun. But our gardener came like 5 days ago, got the whole backyard looking fabulous. And then the day before yesterday, it was like a freaking tsunami, okay, and all the acorns are coming down. It sounded like Sammy Davis Jr. tap dancing on the roof above our Four Seasons room as we're watching the morning show. And I got up the next day, the whole backyard's covered with branches, and the deck is covered with leaves and thousands of acorns. So today, because we got company coming over on Saturday, I then had to spend like an hour blowing the deck to get all these leaves and all this other crap off of our deck. So that was finally done. And then I had like about a 70-pound grill that works for our smoker barbecue and grill. So I had to clean that off and lug it in and lug it outside. And I got everything done. But that's why you're not getting the best of me today, okay? I'm sorry. But, you know, this is kind of an exciting episode for me because we're getting back to my life at DIC Entertainment. So I hope you enjoyed the little foray we did about writing and found it interesting. Nice to know about the process, how selling a show goes. But getting back to DIC, we left off where Lori had assigned me to this new show called Lady Lovely Locks. And Robbie London came in as the vice president of creative affairs. Andy Hayward, he was Andy Hayward's guy. He's his friend. I get it. I understand. I got into DIC because I was Jean's friend. I kind of felt like I should have gotten VP of Creative Affairs, but And he said, okay, we're going to make you senior story editor. Well, it's cheapest thing you can do is give a title. So I got that title. So Robbie came in, and I told you we kind of clashed in the beginning. He said, well, we can't have a long scene. I said, what are you talking about? He says, in here you say long shots, and on the first line. And I explained to him a long shot means that it's just, wide and covering a lot of things, and you're further away from the characters. They're indistinct. So I kind of had a clue that, he may have been a good executive, but when it came to writing scripts, I don't know. And in future years, he got a huge resume of shows that he produced. Of course, it helped that he was Andy's buddy. And Robbie and I got to be, we got back close after the years. The years go by, and, you forget the bad experiences and you remember the good ones. And he's really a good guy, very well respected in the industry. But we clashed at DIC. And, there's a line in the original Red Dawn when, the guy that I think it was Tommy Lee Jones. I think it was Tommy Lee Jones. He's a pilot and he crashes, and and they're talking to these kids about, why the battle is going on between Russia and the United States. And he says, listen, you're the two toughest kids on the block. Those two kids, they're going to get into it. It's the way that it is. So Robbie was, the vice president of creative affairs, freshly minted. I'm the senior story editor. And, I'm outgoing and bold and everything else. And I got a reputation for getting stuff done. So we kind of clashed. So then, Lori gives me like free reign on Lady Lovely Locks. And I'm waiting for this because I want to get, some of that extra cash coming in for writing scripts to augment my salary. So I start pounding out the Lady Lovely Locks scripts, and I'm not even assigning any of them out. I'm like 6 episodes in. I've written all of them, okay? And I'm loving this series because it's female empowerment, it's medieval, it's got cute little dragons, it's adorable series. You got to Google it if you can. It's a wonderful little girl series, and I really enjoyed doing it. So I'm like 6 or 7 episodes in, and Robbie comes into my office one day, and he says, we got to talk. So, mi casa, su casa. So, and of course, he doesn't have his office by the writer's wing. He's over on the executive wing. So he says, I see you're doing Lady Lovely Locks. And I said, yeah. And, Karen and Deborah Galliani and Cassandra Schofhaus. And, at this point, they think I walk on water, which I guess I did because I'm doing really well on the Mattel shows on Popples and everything, Care Bears, whatever else I'm working on. So Robbie says, he says, and, he was kind of like a stiff guy, okay? And I get it, you're a new kid on the block, but, this is not somebody that, is able to loosen up, let's put it that way. So he says, I get the impression that you want to write all of the episodes. I said, well, you've got the right impression, And he says, you're getting paid extra for writing those episodes. I said, yes, I am. You're right about that. And he says, when I was at Hanna-Barbera, he said, I wrote episodes. He says, and I don't know how many, I don't think he wrote a lot of episodes. I can look up his IMDb, but he didn't write a lot of episodes. And he said, we just felt that was part of our job by being on staff. And, sometimes you say something. I remember years ago, Kim and I were getting ready to go out on a Saturday night, and I opened up her closet, and there's like more shoes than Imelda Marcos ever had. She's got like 50 pair of shoes in there, okay? Everything from sneakers to dresses, shoes, stilettos, which I like, you name it, bejeweled, some of them. And it's a Saturday night, and I say to her, do you really need all of these shoes? It was one of those deals, like I wanted to grab the words and stuff them back in my mouth. And my 5'5" or 6" Irish girl turns around at me, looks at me, puts her hands on her hips, and she says, it's Saturday night. Do you really want to talk about my shoes? So I can tell you we bought more shoes that weekend. So I had kind of the same thing happen with Robbie. He says, you're getting paid for it. We didn't get paid at Hanna-Barbera. And I said, well, you know what? John and Andy set it up that way. And if you have a problem with it, I think you should talk with them. And the room temperature dropped about 40 degrees. And he just looked at me. He didn't say a word. And he turned around and he walked out. And I think until I left DIC, that was probably the last time that Robbie and I spoke. And I know, look, I'm not an easy guy to get along with, okay? I understand that, look, I always say I couldn't be married to me because if I was, I'd kill me, okay? I got to have my towels folded a certain way. I got to have the dishwasher loaded a certain way. So I know I'm not easy to get along with, but this was a gaffe on my part. I could have handled it better. And it was the first of a series of mistakes that I made at DIC. And I'm going to get into that in future episodes as we follow my long and winding path at DIC Entertainment. And what I did then, as if this wasn't enough, I compounded it because I was leaving on a cruise in 2 weeks, and I took, by this time they had portable laptops, portables, like 45 pounds, in an ammo container. But I took K-Pro 12. So I took instead of just taking the 10-day vacation, I wanted to kind of shove it in his face a little bit. I take my computer with me and I write 2 Lady Lovely Lock scripts while I'm on the ship. And I get into San Juan and I put it in a FedEx and I sent it back to DIC to his attention. So that was gaffe number 2. There's a number of future ones. I would hope that if Robbie's watching this, or if we ever run into each other at a convention, we can kind of laugh about it. So at the time, I guess it wasn't so funny, and I could have handled it better. But look, I'm mortal, okay? I make mistakes, but you want to choose the times that you're going to make your mistake. I had him backed into a corner, and he was new at DIC. I knew Andy and John were the ones that set this up, that we get paid for writing episodes. It was brilliant, a brilliant move, because you don't have to worry about assigning all the scripts out to 5 or 6 different writers and then the story editor bring it all into house style. If you've got a story editor that can write and knows the story, why not have him write the episodes? And for me, it was good. And my salary's climbing up. I'm getting close to $100K a year with my base salary and writing all those episodes. So I kind of had him backed into a corner. But like I said, I could have handled it a little better. But in hindsight, I realized my mistake. So when you're crossing swords with people, and you will, okay, try to take a breath. That's Jack's tip of the day. Don't just be reactive. That was my biggest flaw many, many years ago, is that I would just say the first thing that comes to my mind. And Kim always gave me good advice. She said, take time to process stuff. And I should have taken a couple of nanoseconds and processed it and said it a little more eloquently. But what is, and that's what is as far as where I am at in my career at DIC. Lady Lovely Locks, show that I absolutely loved. I adored that show, and we'll get more into other series in the coming episodes. Subscribe, like us, and have a good Labor Day weekend. I'll see you guys soon. Take care.